Hi, it's Jessie. I'm back again, and I am still on Delilah. I want to look at what we can learn from Delilah, you know, in relationships because she can teach us a lot. So I'm going from Judges chapter 16, around verse number 4 again, and sometime later he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek whose name was Delilah. The rulers of the Philistines went to her and said, "See if you can lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength and how we can overpower him, so we may tie him up and subdue him. Each one of us will give you 1,100 shekels of silver." Okay, and so the first thing that I want to lay out here is defining the relationship between Samson and Delilah, because we can see that he loved her. It says it right there. But we can also see that she didn't love him. She was willing to sell him for a price. And we have to be mindful that when we're in relationships, what we perceive to be a relationship may not actually be a partnership, but more like a master slave thing, because when you love somebody, love is never satisfied unless it's given, right? When you love somebody, you always want more of them, and you want to go as far as you can go with them. Love makes us do things like we'll jump through hoops to get it. If at the very prospect of love, most women are out there getting their hair fixed and nails done, maybe some makeup on, we will jump through hoops at the very prospect to attain love. And then once we have that love, we'll walk through fire to keep it. We'll go to great lengths and make great sacrifices to make sure that we don't lose the one that we love. Because love has this thing about it. It covers. Jesus tells us to love one another because love covers a multitude of sins. But it doesn't just cover sins. It covers people. It provides. Like I was talking on public benefits, right? And how, I think that we need to take individual responsibility to care for one another instead of deferring that responsibility onto a system, right? Did you ever notice the people on public benefits get shamed a lot, right? But when somebody hands them money as like a gift, when somebody does something nice for them, it doesn't create shame in them. No, it like makes their heart flutter and lets them see how good people are in the world. It lets them see that people out there are actually good and care for them, and they haven't been discarded to be dependent on a system that isn't fit to care for them. So we have to understand that love always gives. It gives, and it changes things. It changes relationships and makes us better and stronger, right? But on the other hand of that, we have Delilah, who sells the fairy tale. She gets you to give your heart away. She gets you to fall in love with her. She's got you on the hook real good. She showed you the greatest fairy tale that your heart could ever desire, and you went all in. Unfortunately, your all in for her wasn't the same, because she didn't want actually what she was selling you. She was just telling you what she needed to tell you to get what she wanted out of you. She didn't really want you. She just wanted something from you. And like I said, the people like Delilah, something happens to them early in life where they don't get their needs met, and so they have this need to manipulate and control, and they get their security from dominating others. And so they can't enter into relationship because relationship means having to relinquish control, and so instead of relinquishing control and entering into a relationship, Delilah develops these systems for coping. um, Perhaps she feels guilty for what she's doing in the relationship, and so in order to deal with her guilt, she's got to get rid of you. And um, like here we see that Delilah worked with the authorities to tie up Samson. Well, anytime you're with Delilah, they're trying to tie you up. They're trying to bind you up. They're trying to hold you down, you know. Um, the Bible talks a lot about you can't rob a strong man unless you tie him up first, right? So you have to understand that these people, um, they fight in ways where you can't tell that they're the enemy, okay? Because they use your love against you, you know? Like, they will constantly make you feel guilty. Like, um, if you call them out on anything, they would be like, I would never, or I was just playing, you know. They have these defenses, and they'll throw it back at you like, how could you even think that of me? What is wrong with you that you could actually think that of me? And so they'll control your perceptions of reality through guilt, through making you feel bad for calling them out on the junk that they're doing, you know? And so you, because you love them, you know, you take the responsibility for the wrong, even though it's like, they don't really love you, they're just keeping you on the hook, and you know they can't have you calling them out because they have to maintain their appearances. You understand? They're not just maintaining appearances for you. Should you say anything bad about them, then the next person on their hook may see them for who they are a little bit sooner. So they have an image to protect, an image to maintain, and they will take you out to do it. They need you to be the bad one. They need you to be the horrible person, and so they'll keep poking you with sticks. They'll keep making you feel guilty for things that aren't your fault. They'll keep poking at your insecurities. They'll cripple you entirely. Like we see that Samson went to sleep on Delilah's lap, right? And this is how, you know, she shaved his head. She put him to sleep on her lap and shaved his head, and this is how, you know, he was actually able to be bound, right? So you have to understand that these people, they offer you comfort. They offer you the fairy tale, but it's a facade. It's like they're fighting a proxy war, and you don't even know that you're fighting in this war, you know? And it's all about destroy everything around you, you know? And sorry, I had to gather myself for a second there. It's like they fight you through other people. So you're like competing with who they say you are, and it's really hard for you to be who you are. And if they don't have you tied up physically, like Delilah had Samson tied up, then they certainly have you tied up like socially, mentally, and emotionally. You understand? They tie you up, they bind you up, and did you ever hear the expression, you know, you make me sick? Well, these people, they actually make you sick because they get you believing lies. You know, they manipulate you so well that they have you believing lies. And when you believe lies, you cut yourself off from the Father, because the Father tells you the truth. You know, he reveals things to you. The Holy Spirit is your teacher. You know, the Holy Spirit comes to teach you. The Holy Spirit will tell you, don't go here. And these people will cut you off from the Holy Spirit by making you feel like you're wrong for listening to the Holy Spirit, when really what you need to do is get away from them. But because you're not getting away from them, because they have you like caged in through guilt, you know, because they have you caged in, you're separated from God, and that's where you find yourself getting ill. Because, you know, when you're in God, there's no sickness in God. You know, sickness has to flee. Miracles happen like all the time. People can command sickness to leave them. Sometimes sickness just leaves all by itself and without any treatment or anything. And it's got nothing to do with like modern day medicine. It's got everything to do with being connected with God and your heart's desire and understanding His will for you, and your life. And part of his will is that you prosper, and the other part of his will that you be in good health. And so knowing that that is his will for you, it's your right to pull that down and cling to it and claim it. But these people, they separate you from God, separate you from your rights, and so you find yourself walking sick. And here we see that they put Samson's eyes out, but Samson's eyes were put out long before they put his eyes out by Delilah, because he was believing the lie. And you have to understand that people like Delilah, they're always going to have you believing lies. And you may think that it's harmless, but truly it's not harmless, because it separates you from God. If you tell God no long enough, it's disobedience, and he'll leave you to get your head busted. He'll leave you, and you'll find yourself in a prison, you'll find yourself in a pit, and you won't understand why, but it's because you allowed these people to manipulate and control you. They use guilt on you, but that's not love. Remember, love covers a multitude of sins. So when you see someone trying to bring condemnation on you, you know you need to separate yourselves from them. You need to cut them off, right? Because love doesn't do that. That is not a function of love. Love always helps you to grow. If it brings conviction on you, it's for your betterment. It's always for your betterment. It's never to leave you condemned in sin. And love will take its hands off you to let you get your own head busted, but they're not going to play a part in you getting your head busted. Do you understand? So there's a big difference. And the thing that you have to understand is we get ourselves stuck in these relationships because we go too fast, too far, too fast. We give all the benefits away. We relax our boundaries, our morals, our standards, everything. And we don't have the protection of the vow. Um, the Bible talks a lot about, the importance of marriage and the sanctity of marriage and preserving the marriage and, being committed in relationship to each other. But there's actually a real protection with it, because people can't use you. They can't control you. They can't separate you from God if they're committed to you, if they're under that vow, because then the relationship is covered by God, and then you have the right to pull down salvation for them through God, because you can always pray to God to make them better, or pray to God to take them away from you, because you're protected under that vow, and only God has the power to break that vow, right? So there was a woman, Abigail, I think her name was, and she was married to a horrible man who was kind of abusive towards her, and God took him away. You understand that? She went and she was with David after that. So you have to understand that, yeah, sometimes we get caught up. We get in the wrong relationships. But God always has a way of escape for us, as long as we remain in His will and keeping up His standards and following His rules and His laws. Delilah doesn't want you to do that. She gives you permission to sin, and while it may feel good at the time, that comes at a price. So I think that it's really important that we understand that we don't want what Delilah's selling. It's better to wait for the commitment. It's better to have the commitment, than if the relation splits up. It splits up with the blessing of God, and you're not going to lose as much as you would if, you had just poured in your whole life to someone who was just there to sell you out in the first place. So, that's what I got for you today. I'll come back with more on my little Delilah series. Have a good day, okay?